Hey Sharni, nice to have you back in Australia. How you going?
I'm good, thank you. I'm very, very, very happy to be back in Australia.
And what's it like coming from LA to promote this film?
It's kind of crazy, actually. I'm so glad that Universal gave me the opportunity to come to Australia and to promote this movie. I feel like as Australians and as, big surfing culture community, that this film is going to do very, very well here. So very happy to be home promoting it and seeing my family and friends.
Cool. Can you tell us a little bit about the film? What was that like travelling to...
Wow, it was insane. I was called from LA, and I was in Atlanta at the time on the set of T-Pain video clip, and my lawyer called me, and it was just strange because he only ever calls if I've done something wrong or if I've booked something, and I hadn't been on an audition in a long time, and he just called and said, Blue Crush 2 have written a role in for you. It's a character called Tara, and they would love for you to join us in South Africa and portray the nemesis to the lead and sort of be her obstacle in the movie. And I flew out to South Africa 33 hours of travel later and arrived in absolute stunning Durban, 2 hours south of Durban where we shot, and it was just magic. Like, the country is magic, the people are just exceptionally stunning, and it's got great food, and it was just such a beautiful experience coming out of Hollywood, which is such a fast-paced and stressful lifestyle, and to go to South Africa where it's just so relaxed, and it's poverty-stricken too, and there's people living out of huts with the biggest smiles on their faces you've ever seen, and it was a very grounding, refreshing experience coming from Hollywood. It was what I needed at the time.
What's your relationship like with Tara?
I was very happy to play like the baddie in this movie. I haven't done that before, and it's a lot of fun to play like the mean girl. And I felt a huge obligation as an Australian, and as an Australian that has grown up in Cronulla and definitely amongst the surfing community my whole life, and to know that surfing is a very territorial sport, it's very competitive, and a lot of fights can go down out in that water, people don't realise, and my character is sort of the epitome of that, and she's the #1 surfing girl on the Roxy team, and she's not scared to let anyone know it, and it's cool because we refer to things in the movie about there being a pecking order in the surf, and that's what it's like for real. Like, if you're out of your home zone and you're in somebody else's territory, you need to know that you don't like drop in on their wave. You have to let them go, and Dana comes in and she's a California girl and she drops in on my wave, and from the beginning it's not a happy union. So, but there's redemption.
Were you a natural surfer?
I had not surfed before this film, but I had grown up, 15 years in the swim squad, and heavy swimming training, and also as a nipper in the Surf Lifesaving Club. So I'd done a lot of board paddling, a lot of experience in the ocean, and then through dancing I knew I had pretty good balance. So I had a feeling I would be able to do it, but I just never tried it before, and it was like a lifelong dream to cross off surfing on the list. Like, can surf. Yes, now I can say I can do that. Oh, it was hard. That was one of the hardest parts about this movie, was the fact that we shot it in the middle of winter, and we're in bikinis, and it was absolutely freezing in that water. It was so cold. Like, we were brought in on 2 occasions with mild hypothermia after being out there for, over 2 hours and just sort of shivering. Like, your body gets to a point where, like, that your arm just won't stop. Like, you're trying to do dialogue and you just can't, like, it's uncontrollable, like, how cold you are, and you've got to try and find a way to shake that off and make it look like it's the sunny day that it actually is. And that was one of the definite obstacles for everyone in this film, was shooting in the conditions.
Did you have protection because of the sharks, or
well,
what was that?
There was interesting things about the sharks because I had been warned about South Africa and the sharks, and that it was one of the worst places for great whites. And the best part about it is that it was sardine season when we shot, and it was the middle of winter. And sardine season, sharks everywhere, whales everywhere, dolphins everywhere. So we had beautiful dolphin and whale experiences, but we knew the sharks were there, and they pull out the shark nets in the middle of winter to protect, you know, the marine life getting stuck in the nets. So you know that there's no netting. But what they do is they have buoys that bob out in the middle of the ocean, and attached to those buoys are huge slabs of meat. And they do it on purpose so that the sharks come and feed off the meat, and they have a food supply, and they don't go after the surfers. So there was that, which was meant to be kind of, oh, phew, but it actually was sort of like, wait, so you're telling me there's a shark right there, like underneath where that buoy is? Because that's only 10 metres from me. That was scary. And they also had about, 30 guys from the surf unit that we would sit in the middle of the ocean, the cameras would be here, and they would make a semicircle around the cameras and around us, just so the cameras couldn't see them. And the two guys on the end of the circle had shark pods attached to their ankles, which is just like a giant hose which has an electric current running through it. Sharks won't come closer than 10 metres to that current, it scares them. So there were precautions like that, and it was interesting kind of paddling along, and one time I got zapped by the hose thing. I was like, oh my god, because you're expecting like the worst because you just don't know if there's going to be a shark. And the surf coach who was wearing one, I swam too close to him, and it sort of just went like, and it's like a quick electric shock, but it scares you so much because you're waiting for a shark or something worse. So but we got pulled in one time. They told us it was a camera malfunction. No, there was a sighting of a great white. So we just, you don't know about it until you get to shore and you're safe, and then it's like, oh, phew, I made it. But scary.
Yeah. So from Home and Away to Step Up, and you've been working on Bait. What's Bait been like?
Bait was incredible because it brought me home, for a third of the year last year, which was very special because I never get to spend that much time in Australia these days. And it was my first Australian film, all Australian cast, crew, and it was just so refreshing to be working with Australians again. And it was my second 3D movie, but it was the first time that I've been in a film where they're using the 3D underwater cameras now. Yeah. And it's amazing to see the technology just progress. And I do love being on set of a 3D movie. It's very exciting. The cameras are huge. They're like big transformers. And, you can go back and watch your scenes straight away in 3D. And it's just really fun, It's interesting. And the sharks that we used for that film, were just exceptionally real looking. I still can't believe that they weren't, but they would swim, and they're perfect. Like the way that they had them designed, that their gills would even move, and when they attacked and they had the shark open the mouth, and the eyes would even roll in the back of the head because they've studied sharks, and that's what happens when they attack. So they had everything down to a fine art and detail. It was a really fun film to shoot, and it was going to be over, but I'm going to China next week to continue shooting Bait. I wrapped it last December, and it's always interesting when 7 months later you're asked to do some more scenes for a movie that was a while ago now, so we're going to do some more on Bait next week in China.
And what was it like working with Julian McMahon and Lincoln Lewis?
It was great. I wanted to meet Julian, so I was really excited to work with him. He's a classic. He's a really funny guy, and he's cool to work with on set too. And Dan Wiley, who is just such a character. Like, I would work with him again in a heartbeat because he's one of those people that just keeps you entertained non-stop. Lincoln was great to work with again because it was like a Home and Away reunion. Yeah. But it was a difficult one to shoot again because we're wet the whole movie, like from the start to the finish. It's post tsunami, so every day we came to work and got back into this dirty tank of like crappy water that was just looked awful, and it was cold, and you're sitting on a shelf, just again quite cold, like shivering because you're wet the whole time. So you need people like Julian and Dan Wiley that are up there that are just cracking jokes the whole time and making it super fun.
And the shark's going to be more realistic than Jaws.
Oh yes, oh yes. You should see the trailer. It's pretty intense. The sharks look incredible. Like that really is the most incredible part about this film is it's going to be the first shark film out in a very long time, or possibly ever. That the sharks legitimately look real. Like they're real, and it's still mind-boggling to me that they can do things like that. But sharks coming at you in 3D, like yes, please, yes.
So you've spent a lot of time in LA. How's LA treating you?
It's treating me well.
Yeah.
I'm blessed to be working. I've worked since the day I arrived in LA, which was just so fortunate. I had definitely prepared for the long slog, and everything's happened much quicker than I thought. So I'm just super grateful.
Now, you've been in LA, obviously, for a long time, and you've come home. What's your favourite things or places to hang out when you come back home?
Well, the first thing I do when I get off the plane is I go straight to 7-Eleven and get a Slurpee. Because that's my, thing. I'm the Slurpee girl. So I go and get a Slurpee, and then, I go see my mum and my family and my dog. And, I miss where I live in Cronulla is a beautiful, sandhill area, and where they train, I run the dog up and down the sandhills and along the beach, and it's just so pristine and gorgeous that it's those are the places that I miss, because you can't find them in LA. It's really just stunning Australian coastline, you just can't find it. So I like to just hang out at the beach, and here, where are we? Looking at this amazing view. Yeah. It's good.
Cool. You're always fashionable. How would you describe your style?
Wow. Oh, gosh. I don't know. I don't even know if I could have describe my style, because I don't buy brands' names. I don't buy clothing because they're a certain brand, or... I don't go looking through fashion magazines seeking the latest, it item and go out and get it. I just buy things that I like when I see it. And, I like a lot of... there's a shop called All Saints in LA, which actually came out of London, but amazing clothes. I do a lot of All Saints in my wardrobe, I must say, which is kind of like a... street, pretty street casual. I'm not one for getting super dressed up, and I'd like to be comfortable at all times. That's my main thing, is comfort. If it's not comfortable, I probably won't wear it. Unless you have to. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just I love hats, and I love accessories, and I love boots. And I figure if you've got that going on, anything can go in the middle.
Sure.